All right, so welcome into Philadelphia Walks PTSD. My name is Sharon Cole, or Sharon, or Cole, whatever you want to refer to me as, no big deal. As I like to say, in a good way, don't care. I called everything under the sun: rat, pig, horse, squirrel, hippo, rhino, dinosaur, and lizard. So sticks and stones may break my bones, but words shall never hurt me, as they say in the old wise saying of whoever said it. And it's okay if you don't know who said it. So for all the writers or journalists and people who reference things out there and are crazily online trying to attribute every expression and so forth and so on, um, it's okay not to be overly perfect. So anyway, just wanting to come on here again for my day 105 of my one video each day, 365-day campaign, raising money for life lost, stolen, robbed, tortured, and everything else due to extreme harassment, as I put on that title. And in this video, I'll talk about call stalking, and I'll backtrack really quick with how everything started. On the fourth Monday of January 2011, I was made to believe I'd be murdered in my apartment. There was a series of orchestrated events that unfolded, and in a way, it's a coward's way out to kick something off, like cause stalking or gang stalking. It was really, really bad. I was convulsing, trembling to the point of muscles completely go limp. You can't even hold your phone at the time. I had just been using, for the first time ever, a smartphone. I used a flip phone for many years and finally joined the party of smartphones. And this was 2011. And it was a Palm smartphone, a really small one, smaller than this. And my body went completely limp and hands completely convulsing, trying to figure out who to call first. Also, I couldn't use my voice. Like, it turns out, at least in this case, when someone is terrorized, your voice box goes out. It's like one is too stunned to even be able to scream out or say anything. It's like fight or flight, and maybe the voice is like, just be quiet right quick and don't let anyone know you're around. That kind of thing, I guess. So anyway, I called my sister, then called the police, and waited till the next day after I dragged my sister up to Philadelphia to help me walk dogs. Tried to call my mom and got we're sorry, the phone number you're trying to reach has been disconnected. So if I had tried to call my mom the night during the time period that everything started with this weird, bizarre situation of a whole bunch of noise, a van idling outside, it was kind of movie-ish like. If I had tried to call her, I would have gotten that, and that would have made me even more scared and more paranoid, if you will. But I didn't try till the next day and found out she and my aunt, who were living together, had the telephone guy out because the telephone wire in the back of the house somehow got severed or cut or disconnected or whatever. So anyway, and if that weren't enough, the games commenced after that, and all the people who I had known leading up to this, and I was fairly active, a runner, someone who's participating in two different groups in order to participate in life and be community oriented, if you will, and also to have a support system, friends, relationships. A lot of those people kind of did the opposite than what you would expect. They were either unsupportive and acted like, or they just said bizarre things that made me feel like they could see into my life invisibly, as if they were on a special surveillance team that could see into people's properties, and would creep you out by saying things that were overly coincidental. Hard to explain, and I try to explain some of that stuff through my videos or while I'm talking. So it could be that whatever I said to my sister while I was scared in my apartment and shaking and trembling, go to meet up with a friend to talk about what happened, and they almost reiterate that conversation as if they knew what my sister said and what I said. That's very creepy and disturbing. I don't know what it is, but anyway, today's topic is cause stalking. Essentially, it's the same as gang stalking, Um, and it's just a different term, I believe, put on the same activity. On urban or in through Urban Dictionary, basically it's organized, widespread stalking of an individual because he or she has a different lifestyle, political stance, or a different moral belief system than their stalkers. And the stalking is meant to cause disruptions in the target's psychology, um, physiology, and social and financial status. So that's basically they're diminishing the quality of life of a person. I learned a little bit of law, and there are conspiracy charges that can be placed on people should two or more people or a group of people conspire, actually text, meet up, or what have you to diminish the quality of life of another person. So if there are groups of people who decide, like, we're going to go out today and um, kind of mess with the target or mess with certain people or what have you, if it can be proven that those people consciously, willingly, and premeditatively met up and carried out certain things like wearing certain t-shirts on purpose, it can actually be proven in a court of law that these people conspired to diminish the quality of life of another person. So that could result in a conspiracy charge. So this would be something I would learn much later on when I was more able to calculate things in my brain. At first, I just kept walking dogs. I kept trying to figure out how to get out, even of walking dogs, or should I move here? Should I move there? I went through a million different options and scenarios of what I couldn't figure out where to go. Or even if I were to move, would the activity still occur? And would someone unleash this type of activity after doing like a major kickoff, like the belief of being murdered in my apartment, through a whole series of events? Could someone do this either to try to prove it, or would they just unleash it because it's old school activity that dates back maybe centuries? But they would do it just to kick someone's ass, if you will, for various reasons. I actually don't know why this happened, but I went through a million theories. And it could even be a movement of people who are trying to push other people aside, and it doesn't necessarily have to be racist. Like the quick answer would be it's a racist thing. I actually don't think it is, because so many people who were involved were white. So so that blows that right out of the water. But there are people who participate from other races, but I would say 98% of the people who played this game were actually white. So they either have a problem with maybe the LGBT community, if you were to look at this definition, or they don't like the fact that you don't behave like they do in general. Like, I didn't know how to get married and have kids, or I didn't know how to be part of the status quo. I wound up being a freelance writer. I sort of eke by earning a living. I always sort of have been renting. I've never owned a home. Gave up my car to come here. So there are people who just know how to do exactly what the status quo dictates, and I definitely wasn't one of those people. I don't really know why, to be honest. It's just people feel good over here, or they don't feel good, and you try to stay away from whatever doesn't feel good, right? But our hope is that we could stay in a space, work-wise, hopefully, living-wise, where we feel better and safe. And if for some reason in a different area or a different lifestyle feels like something's wrong, then you try to avoid that. So anyway, and I don't know in my case, other than theories of, I wrote an op-ed many years ago, technically scathing Donald Trump. This is way back in the days of the beauty pageant queen whose crown was taken away because she didn't follow all the rules and the policies. And most women wouldn't love how this woman was treated in front of the entire nation. It wasn't like a private matter or a quiet matter. They paraded this woman out in front of everyone, and it was like a public spanking, per se. So that really ruffled the feathers of many, many women who are like, I can't believe someone would do that, and not handle it differently. And here she is, someone who has all these women who have one of the biggest options to get out there in the world is to actually parade around in a bikini and be awarded money for school, or however they want to, whatever prizes are given, and then a little bit of fame and acclaim, and whatever living you can make after that. So it's we have all these beauty pageants for women, but not as many for men that are televised worldwide. and men aren't parading around in a two-piece or a bikini unless it would be like those are different things. We don't see as much of it in the same way as women. So anyway, I wrote an op-ed about that. These days, I don't even care. I don't pay attention to politics. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or if it's another thing in general. Some people think it's all about the gayborhood. I found myself in the LGBT community. I do know there are a lot of businesses and stuff like that that sort of follow along seemingly with someone's families or storyline, and that gets a little weird. There was a bar called Sisters. I have a sister. And they had Sister Space, and a lot of people would say that's not it, but they also had a nightclub that used to be called DCA, which was the same acronym of where my mom worked in Delaware, and then it turned to Pure and Voyeur. Then we have Sharon's Bank, where I went, and my name is Sharon, where I wound up living when everything kicked off, and I began to be tortured by these cause stalkers or gang stalkers or orchestrated harassers or what have you. And they cause a lot of agitation and irritation. Imagine what that can do to a person in general. And talk about not being able to live a normal life. Also, there was a bank, MB&A Bank, a credit card bank that started ages ago, like in the 80s. And their headquarters, the very first building that they opened and started with was called the Cole House. So there are things that come into play if you start connecting all the dots, and it's like, wait a minute, my name is Sharon Cole, and the Cole House was plopped down in front of the biological father of my step-siblings, and my step-siblings were raised technically in my dad's and his second wife's house. So it would be like the Cole House plopped down in front of, ouch, let's rub it in a little more that we lost our wife and kids to some other guy, or vice versa, so anyway, just coming on this morning to do a quickie video to say cause stalking does actually exist. Technically, it's existed for many, many years. It's like the movie The Others with M. Night Shyamalan. He put that out. It's this idea that people behave in creepy and really dumb ways around anyone or anything who doesn't fit exactly what they do or deem important in their book of life, or their book of behaviors and mannerisms. So anyway, that's it for day 107. Of course, I'm always asking for donations, anything. I really want to start up a major family fund because I feel like there's a family left behind per se. There are certain family members, whether cousins or maybe non-biologicals and stuff like that, who wound up sort of monetarily winning out big time. And then there's the family left behind, and the mother and father or the grandmother and grandfather, they paid heavily into certain assets and so forth and so on. And the family left behind never reaped any benefits being related to the, from that side. Only the other people reap benefits, and they go on living as if nothing's wrong or if they didn't do anything wrong and self-righteously behaving like therapists or religious people or what have you. So anyway, I really want to raise a family fund. I'll take any donation I can get to keep going. I keep walking dogs, and fortunately, there's enough work here in the city to at least keep a roof over my head, and I eat a certain way. That's about it. So no vacations, no benefits, no health care, no 401k, no pensions, no, partner support. Some people are married and maybe it's agreed upon that the woman can stay home per se and, work as a graphic designer or something like that, where her husband goes off and collects the paycheck that gives really the benefits. And so forth and so on. So that's it. I will wind it down here on April 15th, 2023, day 105, asking for any help I can get, and to ultimately create a family fund to help support family members left behind who have always had to struggle and maybe didn't even get to pursue things that other people got to pursue because of various dynamics in households. So we'll leave it at that, and have a great Saturday. Enjoy the day. And if you're in Philadelphia, sounds like it'll be a nice day, a lot cooler than the past couple days, and beautiful weather. Or maybe not, it might rain. So thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye.